Jessica.
Hi, I'm Allison.
What can I help you with today?
I don't know, like, I've just been feeling, like, really down lately. But I feel like there's no, like, real reason for it. Like, everything's going fine. I mean, like, I just graduated from high school, all honors.
Wow, good for you. It's a pretty big accomplishment.
Thank you. Yeah, you know, I'm gonna be going to UCLA in the fall. You know, like, I live obviously at home with my parents who do really well. I'm an only child, so I'm a little bit, you know, spoiled, I guess you can say. I don't know, like, I feel like when I'm out with my friends, like, I mean, we've been doing all of, like, these kind of end of the year graduation, like, activities. We've all been going out and hanging out. You know, because, like, we're all gonna go off to different schools and stuff, but every time I'm there, like, when I'm with my friends and everybody, I don't know, I just feel really, like, I can't enjoy myself, and my friends have been pointing it out to me, too, like, they can just tell, like, my facial expressions, they're just like, what's wrong with you, like, so I don't know, I just feel like, I don't know, I'm not, like, excited about anything, I'm not, I don't know, it's hard.
Yeah, it sounds tough. You know, it's a time when everyone's celebrating, and it must be hard to have your friends notice. Do you notice when you're feeling that way, or?
Sometimes, yeah, like, for example, like, we all went out for pizza the other night, and I was just, like, really out of it. Like, you know, we were all sitting down and everybody was joking around, like, making jokes, everybody was laughing, and I just, like, wasn't laughing. And it wasn't because, like, I didn't think that what they were saying was funny or anything. I just was very, like, kind of detached, like, you know what I mean? Like, I was there, but I wasn't there. Yeah.
So, what happened between now and the time that you made the appointment that you would want to reoccur? What are some good things that have kind of happened in the last couple of weeks since you gave me a call?
I mean, you know, I had my graduation party and I got a lot of money, so that was good from all my family members. You know, like, I found out who my new roommate was going to be online when I moved to UCLA in the fall, so, I mean, that's good. You know, she seems cool, she seems chill, I guess.
So, what I'm hearing you say is you're kind of, you know, in this spot of a lot of exciting stuff happening in life, and, you know, getting some really cool graduation money and feeling excited about that next phase, but that when you're present in those moments, you're not really feeling like you're completely there. How long has that been going on for you?
I feel like a few years at this point. I don't know. Like, I mean, I always, you know, my life's always been good. Like, nothing ever happens that was, like, traumatic or, like, really sad. Like,
so why don't you take me through, like, a typical scenario when you know, like, when you mentioned your friends noticing that you weren't really all there, kind of noticing the expression on your face. Why don't you take me through a recent scenario where that happened, and kind of beginning to end? Just tell me how that played out for you, both in your social interaction and how you felt inside.
So, like, a time where, like, my friends were like, hey, like, there's something, like,
anytime when you felt that kind of sense of detachment and sense of not being really present in the moment.
So there was one like moment at my graduation party where you know, like, all my family was around, like, everybody was coming up to me, like, congratulating me, you know, like, hugging me, like, I was talking to relatives that I hadn't seen in a while. You know, I was playing the part. I was, you know, I had to kind of pretend that, some of these people I haven't seen since I was a baby, you know what I mean, and they're coming up to me and they're just kind of like, oh, like, congratulations, and, you know, like, I was doing small talk with them, and I said thank you for coming, and, but I, you know, as all that was going on, like, I just kind of found myself, like, I left the backyard where the party was going on, and I just kind of, like, went up to my room and just kind of was was there for a while, and I didn't really want to go back outside, and I mean, I eventually did, but like I found myself.
What was going on in your head when you felt like you needed to leave? Like what was going on in your head and in your body? Like what were you feeling at that time when you decided to go upstairs and take a breather?
I think I was feeling like overwhelmed and kind of anxious, I guess. Like,
when you say anxious, what do you mean? Like what kind of feelings you're experiencing?
I don't know, I just like I was just really fidgety, like, you know, I don't know if maybe I was just bored, but it, like my heart was kind of racing a little bit too. Yeah, I don't know, I just really felt like I just didn't want to be there.
Okay. Have you, I know you said you've kind of had these moments off and on for a few years now. So how have you handled it in the past? Have you ever come to therapy before?
No, this is my first time. I think I should have gone a while ago, just because, like, I mean, I'm
Why do you say that?
It's just because, like, you know, people have been saying this kind of about me for a while, I guess. Like, not really my parents, because I put on a really, like, good show for my parents. I don't want them to really see that I'm like this, and you know, and I think they'd be devastated if they felt like I was unhappy, because, like, they've done so much for me, and they've tried to give me a good life, so I almost don't really want to tell them, because I just think it would, like, be heartbreaking for them, I guess.
Yeah, it sounds like you have a pretty good relationship with your parents. Is that right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's always hard when we have family members that are invested so much in us. I think that what makes you say that you think your parents might be devastated if you were feeling unhappy?
I don't know. I mean, they work really hard, and they always give me really good things. Like, I've gone on, like, the best vacations with them. I've always, like, I've pretty much had everything I've ever wanted.
Can you remember a time when you've ever been unhappy around them, and how did they react?
There was one time in high school where one of my teachers wrote on my paper. This was like a philosophy paper, and I didn't really put as much effort into it as I should have. I admit that. But my teacher had wrote on the back. I got a C on it, and then she said this was a very disappointing paper.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like, it just, like, the way that was written, like, I think I would have been okay with just, like, a C being on the paper, and then that was it. But the fact that the teacher wrote, like, this was disappointing was, like, I, like, teared up a little bit when I saw it.
It can be really hard. I know one of the worst feelings for a lot of people is when you feel like someone's disappointed in you.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming you ended up showing your parents?
Well, I told my parents I got a C, which they, they weren't, like, mad about it, but they were like, oh, well, like, we know you can do better, but I didn't show them the part that said this was disappointing. Because I feel like they would have been, like really mad if they saw that.
So, it's interesting that when I hear you say, that you showed them, you told them, about the C and about the bad grade, but that you didn't want to show them the comment. Do you think, how do you feel about the way they reacted to that, to you telling them? Like, how do you feel that they reacted to it? Do you think it was positive or negative? How did it make you feel, their response?
I mean, it was pretty expected, because they were never, like overly, pushy, like, with grades and stuff. Like, they want me to do well, definitely, but they never, like, expected perfection. But so, like, I expected them to say, like, oh, like, all right, I mean, don't beat yourself up over it, but, you could do, next time, just do better, like, don't, because I think they know sometimes, like, every now and then I'll slack off sometimes. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know, like I said, it was pretty expected. Like, I knew that they weren't gonna, like, flip out or anything. But I knew they weren't, it's not like they accept a C. It's not like they're like, oh, like, I know that, like, some of my friends' parents, like, are
really hard on them.
Yeah, they're really hard on them. Or I have some friends whose parents are just like, as long as you're not failing, then, you're fine, so. So my parents are neither. They're kind of
in the middle.
Yeah.
I'm hearing you say a few things. I'm definitely hearing you tell me how anxious you've been feeling, in those situations where you feel like you're supposed to be really happy and kind of joyful and not really feeling yourself. I'm also hearing you say that one of the biggest worries you have is about disappointing your parents. And you just told me about a situation where you felt disappointed in yourself, someone else was disappointed in you, and your parents also were able to, kind of respond in a pretty typical or expected way. So, coming in here feeling this way, what do you think needs to be different in your life to kind of get past this moment, to get past these things you've been experiencing?
That's a good one.
Like, essentially what I'm trying to say is what would make coming here worthwhile? What kind of outcome are you looking for?
I'm just looking to feel just happier, but at the same time like I said, everything is pretty much okay, so I just don't really know what needs to change, I guess, unless it's maybe just my perspective on everything, I guess, because it's there's nothing that I can really add into my life.
That sounds like a really good insight, because I've been hearing you say, even though you have these feelings, that you seem, very happy in general. You recognize that things in your life are going really well.
Yeah.
And that it's kind of coming, the kind of pressures and weirdness you're feeling is kind of coming from within, Do you have, do you have good support in terms of your friends, or?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I've been best friends with my friend Casey for since we were in preschool, so she's there, and talks to my cousin a lot. She's my age, so I'm really close with her.
So those are some people you could talk to if you were feeling like you might need a little support.
Yeah.
So basically what you're saying, what I'm hearing you say about why, what coming here would be helpful for you, would be if you could get to a place where you're looking at things differently.
Yeah.
Why don't we start with one small part of that? If you could figure out which part of these things you're feeling is the most distressing for you. You mentioned, being in a social situation and feeling kind of panicky. You also mentioned worrying about disappointing your parents or coming off as unhappy because they worked so hard for you. If there's one part of that that's the most distressing for you, what would that be?
Can you repeat the question? Sorry, I got really spacey and lost for a minute. Sorry about that.
In that moment when you were feeling spacey?
I was just feeling I don't know, I was thinking about how my parents would feel, kind of, if they knew, if they knew that I was, kind of unhappy. I don't know.
Do they know you came to therapy today?
Yeah, they know.
So what did you tell them when you were, when you told them?
I pretty much just said, because pretty much actually the person that recommended therapy to me was my guidance counselor. Because, I confided in her a lot, and she thought that maybe it would be helpful for me to talk to somebody, like you. But I think my parents don't really know it's for, what. I don't think that they really understand, what I'm gonna come and talk to you for. I think maybe they thought, I feel like the way that I described it to them was just kind of oh yeah, I'm just gonna go, talk to somebody just about, getting ready, for college and stuff.
Yeah.
I feel like maybe they thought it, it was more of, a life coach session or something, or...
So, when you said it to them, when you explained to them that you wanted to go to therapy, you kind of made it seem like it's a little more about the transitional aspect of things?
Yeah.
And you kind of didn't focus too much upon the stuff you've been feeling for the last few years?
No, I don't think I wouldn't know how to have that conversation with them, and I don't know if they'd be ready to hear it.
Okay. So, what I actually asked you a few minutes ago, when you kind of said you spaced out, what I'd asked you was if, what for you is going to make coming here worthwhile, and what's the one part of the feelings that have brought you in here, what's the one thing that you feel would be most impactful, meaningful for you to have a change on? And when you kind of came back to me, and you asked me what's the question again, you had identified that you were feeling, when you, in that moment, you were thinking about your parents, and, you know, how they would feel if they knew, like, kind of why you're, like, really here. So do you think that might be kind of, for me, I'm hearing that might be a bigger aspect of something that's affecting you?
Yeah. I don't know, like, they just, I don't know, I feel like the biggest thing is just they kind of, I think that, like, they're just really, like, happy kind of, like, with how I turned out. You know, like, I never had any problems. I never, you know, I was always a good student. I always, like, I guess, had a good head on my shoulders, made good choices, and, like, I think they're proud of that. You know, like, my mom, you know, like, my mom actually, like, she grew up, you know, with a couple of siblings who were, like delinquents, like, when they were younger. Like, they had a lot of problems growing up. And that really affected my mom a lot. Like, she, like, always...
Has she told you that, or have you just kind of noticed that?
I mean, she never really went into detail, but I can just tell, like, I can tell, like, the way that she talks about her brothers and stuff, and how, and, you know, she's brought up things that they've done in their past, and she's kind of, like, told me, like, I mean, don't ever do this, you know what I mean? Like, stay in school, like, get a job, like, don't end up a loser.
Don't end up like them, yeah.
Basically, yeah. And I can kind of tell, yeah. What were you gonna say?
Oh, no.
Well, no, I was gonna tell, that I can kind of tell in her voice, like, with the way that she talks about it, that she, you know, is still kind of dealing with some of those issues, and I just don't, and I'm just afraid that if I, you know, share with her, like, what's going on with me, I don't know, I feel like she's gonna feel, like, disappointed because she paid her dues in life. Like, she had to grow up with, like, my uncles who were, so that's my whole thing.
So I'm hearing a lot of statements from you that are kind of concerned about how your parents are going to feel about certain things. I heard you just say about how your mom was really affected by that, and you think that she's still kind of dealing with the repercussions of having her brothers have a lot of difficulties growing up. And sometimes I think as people, we really want to please other people. We really want people in our life to think the best of us, and we really want to not disappoint. And it sounds like you've got a lot of that going on, and that's, you know, it can be a good quality. It can keep us motivated, you know, but it can also kind of go the other way. And sometimes we end up kind of thinking ourselves into a corner, you know. And I've heard you say a few times, you know, kind of the idea of how your parents might react. And I did ask you about that situation where, you know, you told them something disappointing and the reaction was kind of okay. Are there any other situations like that you can think of in the past? Let's just say the past few years. Like, maybe something happened and you had to talk to your parents about something uncomfortable even.
Yeah.
Tough discussion.
Yeah.
Anything you can
there's definitely, I feel like there's definitely quite a few. I'm just trying to pick one that maybe might be the most, like, kind of...
Whatever comes to your mind first.
Yeah.
Don't worry about how it's going to sound. I'm here for you. I'm here to listen.
Thanks.
And anything we say, you know, stays between you and myself, and you don't have to worry about you talking to your parents or anything like that. The only time that would ever happen is if you had disclosed to me that you wanted to harm yourself or somebody else, and it doesn't sound like that's why you're here, so.
I think I'm trying to think of this one. There was this one time where my parents and I were in the mall, like, we were walking around. This was like a few years ago when I was in middle school, and there was this group of girls who I kind of, like, wanted to be friends with, like, when I was that age. Like, it was really ridiculous. They weren't. I mean, looking back now, I'm like, why would I ever want to be friends with them? But I remember walking by them in the mall, like, there were, you know, a few of them just in one of the stores, and I waved to them and I just said, hey guys, and they just, like, totally like didn't say hi back. They just kind of started like snickering, like the fact that I said hi, and this was like in front of my parents. And they didn't say anything. Like I don't even think they noticed that they were snickering. Like I mean maybe they did, but I don't know. I just kind of felt like I felt like if they had picked up on it, and I'm not sure if they did, like they would have probably been sad to see that like these girls, like, you know, they weren't really like associating with me, and that kind of like reflects on me a little bit. And so I don't know, I just remember feeling worried, like, oh, do my parents think like I'm like this loser because like they didn't say hi to me?
Yeah.
And yeah, that was, I mean, now I don't care.
It must have felt really hard. I mean, as a kid, even though you said it's fine now, you know, and I'm sure that those little situations can kind of stick with us, and they can kind of create these patterns, or at least help, you know, they can feed into patterns of how we end up behaving. It sounds like, one other thing I'm noticing is, it sounds like there's, and you can please correct me if I'm wrong, but there's not a ton of communication between you guys as a family. How, at least when there's something wrong, like when you're worried or concerned, it sounds like you guys don't talk about things too much. What about otherwise? Do your parents, do you guys all communicate generally about other things, good things, or?
We used to, I think, a lot when I was younger, but my dad, last year, or was it last year, or maybe a couple of years ago, my dad opened up his own practice. He's a oncologist, and he just got like really, really busy, which makes sense. Like he's a doctor, and he's always on call. So I feel like in the last couple of years, like he's never really been home, or when he is, he's just kind of like absent. Like he's always just like waiting to like get a call or something like that. And you know, my mom kind of seems like she's affected by it a little bit. She, you know, she'll like complain a lot, like to her friends over the phone, that like, oh, I'm alone all day, like when I'm in school. I mean, now it's summer, like I'll probably be around a lot more. But you know, I overheard my mom having a conversation with one of her friends, and my mom was like, I'm alone a lot. Like I'm like really like, you know, like Ben's never home. Like it's just like I don't really know what to do with myself. Like she's a homemaker, or she's like a stay-at-home mom still, so she doesn't have a lot going on. So yeah, so I feel like we used to do a lot more, like as a family when we were younger, when I was younger. But you know, things change. Like,
do you get to spend time with your dad at all, or mom, or like what's your relationship like with each of them?
I mean, I get along with them. You know, my dad and I have a lot in common, but like we're really big Red Sox fans, and we used to go to games all the time, but we can't really anymore since like he works a lot. And my mom, like, you know, like every time I wake up, like she's there. Like it's nice to have a mom that like doesn't work all the time. Like it's nice kind of like being able to see her every day, but at the same time we don't really like do a whole lot together like anymore. Like it would be nice if maybe we can go out for coffee or go get our nails done, but it just doesn't really happen. Like I just end up doing like more with my friends and stuff.
Well, you know, noticing a few things, like I've already, you know, I had already mentioned, it seems like there's kind of this little bit of a gap between where you want to be in that relationship with your parents and where you guys currently are. I mean, you're telling me, I know you said it was hard for you to come here and kind of be honest with them about the reason why. And, you know, that you're worried about disappointing them, and that's, you know, in a number of ways. And I'm also hearing you say that you like wish you could spend more time with mom and dad, but there's, you know, do you think working on being able to kind of vocalize what's going on with you, whether it's a good or a bad thing, is something you might be willing to work on?
Maybe.
I mean, sometimes we can only control, you know, ourselves and our aspect of something, and you know, I know it's tough. Your mom must miss your dad being around a lot, and you know, dad's got a lot of pressure on him, and you have a lot of pressure too. You know, as you're in college and you're about to leave the nest, and
yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. My mom's just always like, I love her to death, but she's just always has this like way about her that she's just like hard to talk to. Like she's just kind of not like cold, but just not very. She's not really like expressive. I mean, she has been, like when I was telling you about how like she, you know, talks a lot about, you know, like my uncles and how they were growing up. Like she used to like kind of like talked to me a lot about that. But I think that was more so to kind of
Yeah,
guide
cautionary
me
tale.
and guide me, yeah, into like not being like that. I don't think it was like her, like I don't think it was a means of her like just wanting to confide in me for like the hell of it. Like I think she just wanted to just guide me in like a better direction.
That makes sense. So if you were to sleep tonight and woke up in the morning and things were different and the situation in your life is exactly how you wanted it to be, what will be different?
I don't know, I'd be able to, I mean, I would just feel like happier. I would feel like I wouldn't be dead. Like I could just go out with my friends and not kind of like have that look on my face, like that whole like don't want to be here expression, which isn't, I mean, it's not to say that I don't want to be there, but it's just how I'm being perceived. Like I think it's just like my mannerisms and stuff. Like so I would want, you know, people to like look at me and be like, oh wow, like, you know, she's like having fun, like she wants to be here. Like I feel bad that my friends sometimes think that I don't want to be around them. It's not the case, but it's just, I can just be so withdrawn sometimes, and I think ideally I would just be more upbeat and more kind of there with everybody.
That
And
makes sense.
and my, you know, and my parents too, I guess, because I
So
don't
what
really.
would the difference be there with parents? What would you change about the way that relationship works now?
I'd tell them more maybe about my life, like let them in a little bit, like talk to them more about like what some of my fears are about going to college so far away, and you know, talk to them about like my goals and like when I'm in school, like what I want to major in, just have like a conversation.
Sounds like a really good start. So everything I just heard you say, that, you know, you come in here with these, you know, kind of feelings, you know, in the social situations of being really uncomfortable and not feeling yourself and kind of feeling, you know, that you're kind of disconnected from the situation, and then also feeling worried to confide in parents at home, you know, because of both things in their lives and, you know, your own fear about disappointing them. So I'm hearing two kind of areas of your life that you really want to make a change in. So let's think of some, you know, some kind of smaller goals that we can work on for next time, between now and our next session. So as far as, you know, saying you'd like to come back, assuming you'd like to come back, so let's see, how about, let's start off with parents, since that's the thing you just kind of finished up talking to me about. You said, you know, you'd like to maybe talk with them more and tell them more about your life. What would that look like for you? Like, what's a comfortable situation with them? A situation where you feel good. When would that happen? Where would you guys be? What would you be doing?
We used to have like Redbox nights sometimes, and we would get a movie from Redbox and just like watch a movie all together. Hasn't happened in a while, but I would do that. I mean, there wouldn't be a lot of talking because we would be watching a movie, but it would just be nice. Like
Maybe, how about maybe dinner before? Do you guys eat together as a family a lot?
We kind of fend for ourselves a lot of the time. Like my mom will like
People
cook
get
stuff for
busy,
my
I know.
dad. Yeah, maybe we could do that. I don't know what my dad's schedule's like, but maybe if he can't be there, maybe at least my mom and I can maybe go out to eat or something.
Do you feel like it's easier to talk to mom than dad? Or the other way around?
I think the other way around.
Okay.
Like, even though my dad's never there, like, when he is, it's like, he's just, like, really easygoing. My mom is just, like, not, like...
What does he do to make you feel, like, why do you feel like you're maybe more comfortable with talking to dad than mom?
Because he appears really, whenever I talk to him, he just, like, seems, like, really, like, interested in what I'm saying. Like, the way he responds, like, the way that he nods, it's, like, kind of like you do. Like, how... In like a really like kind of therapeutic way, like he really listens. He's like really there when I talk to him, and I don't really talk to him about deep stuff because I'm not.
Yeah.
But like,
Well,
you know.
teenagers don't talk to their parents about deep stuff. It's pretty tough.
Yeah. I mean, I can just tell him like anything, like even something silly, like oh, and he'll seem like really like interested in it.
You know, I'm hearing something interesting that you're saying. You know, you mentioned that mom's a homemaker and she's around a lot. You love having her around because it's, you know, a lot of kids don't get that.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, but that she's maybe a little bit harder to talk to, and you worry more about saying things with her. But the dad, even though he's not around very often, when he is, seems like he's really invested in even what you have to say.
Yeah.
And then it's kind of easier, so it's kind of interesting, that little difference there. That mom's around more but harder to talk to, and dad isn't around as much, but when he is, it'd be easier to start conversations. So as far as kind of opening things up with your parents a little more, where you can feel a little more comfortable talking, I know you mentioned movie night with mom. Do you feel like it's maybe more important to work on talking to mom than dad, or do you feel like it's maybe more important because you've got some stuff that you're needing to share, you know, over time?
Maybe my mom for right now.
Okay.
Yeah, she, I don't know. I think it's important for her to hear it, I think, because but then again, like, I don't want to, like, upset her by kind of, like, because, like I said, like, they've done so much for me, I don't want, because, like, they're definitely going to feel guilty and be like, what did I do? Like, I thought that I did all these things for you, so what did I do to make you feel this way?
How do you know for sure they're going to feel guilty? Let's say you talk to mom this weekend and have your red box night, have some dinner, sit and watch a movie. Let's say you end up talking and you tell her, listen, I came to therapy, it was partially because of the changes of college, and part of it is, and then you go and tell her, you know, a couple of things you've been experiencing. How do you know she's going to feel, what makes you feel certain that she's going to feel guilty?
I think I'm just going back to, like, the way that she grew up, and I think, like, I don't know, I just get the sense that, like, for people who, like, had a really tough childhood, kind of, they want something different for, like, their kids. It's like, I don't ever want my kids to have to deal with that. I just want everything to, like, be perfect, and you know, like, I'm fine, like, it's not like I have, like, these crazy problems, but I do feel depressed. I do feel like I'm totally, like, there's something missing, and I feel like that's stuff that she needs to hear. But so, like, the way she is, like, and, like, what she went through when she was growing up with them, because I think, like, what her hopes were that
you wouldn't have those struggles.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it sounds like you've got a different struggle going on right now, and it sounds pretty far off from where, you know, your uncles were. You know, we can say over and over again that it's normal to have these feelings, normal to have these discussions, but it's different when it's you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, that being said, what could we do to try and make you feel more at ease about talking to mom? Because we don't know for sure she's going to feel guilty. I know what you're telling me is you're worried because she's had these experiences, and, you know, you're concerned that she's going to worry about you and that you're going to burden her. What can we do on working with that thought process of yours to kind of put yourself at a little more at ease?
I would probably just have to practice what I'm going to say to her, and I just want to, like, let her know, like, right off the bat, like, so I just want you to know, like, I don't want you to be upset with what I'm going to say, because I know that she's immediately going to, like, I mean, I just
freak and worry.
Yeah, like, that's kind of what she does sometimes.
That's her MO.
Yeah. So I would probably just want to, like, set, like, a clear kind of, you know, sort of give her a little intro, like, I just want to let you know that, like, this has nothing to do with what, like, you, or, but I've just been feeling like this for a while, like, I just feel like I'm not happy.
Okay. That's actually a really wonderful idea that you came up with, to kind of practice what you're going to say ahead of time.
Yeah.
You know, that can be a really useful tool for tough conversations. I think in everybody's life there are times when you feel kind of stuck to talk to somebody and, you know, tell them something is difficult. I know it's happened to me. So I think definitely that's a great idea. You have to kind of think about it beforehand. Maybe you could even, you know, before you guys end up hanging out, getting together, maybe you could kind of, like, write down some of the main things that you want to say. Do you think that would be helpful?
Yeah, I think so.
I like what you said too about the beginning, about you know, kind of letting her know off the bat, I'm okay, everything's okay, please don't be upset. You know, I think if that's your way of trying to reassure her, I think that sounds pretty healthy and pretty helpful.
Yeah. And I just want like everybody to be happy. Like I'd rather. Yeah, I think you're right. I never thought about it like that. If she was here, that would be awesome for her to hear. Like, you know.
Maybe at some point she could even come with you after you've had a little chat and stuff. So it sounds like you're on the right track in terms of talking to Mom and stuff. Do you think maybe you could do that this weekend, kind of write out what you're gonna say, and then maybe over the next week have that night with her?
I think so. Yeah. Hopefully. Yeah. I think I should be.
And also too, another thing that would be really good to think about is kind of, I know you were worried about them kind of, would it be right to say blowing it out of proportion, like getting too worried about it?
Yeah.
Maybe you could share a small part of it. It doesn't necessarily have to be, hey Mom, I'm in therapy, blah, blah, blah. You could even just share a little piece of it if that made you feel more comfortable. Like, I worry about going off to college, or I worry about
making friends,
or I worry about making friends. You could even keep it to just one little part of it, and that way, you know, that's an opportunity for you to open up to her, and for her to hear and listen to you, and you know, for you to kind of see that reaction and see that she's not unhappy afterwards. You know, Mom might worry, but I'm willing to bet, you know, if she's anything like you and it's obvious she cares about you a great deal, that she's probably going to just be more concerned for you than unhappy, you know? Knowing your child is not happy about something or struggling, I don't think it automatically makes the parent unhappy. I think it makes them want to help and more concerned, you know?
Everybody actually tells me that my mom and I are like exactly the same, so I guess that kind of makes sense. Never really thought about it that way.
So if you were Mom and, you know, you had a child, how do you think, would you want them to be able to talk to you? And
yeah, because I mean, like, I would be, yeah, that would be living a lie, kind of, if I went through life without knowing that my child was unhappy. So.
Yeah. So you and Mom deserve that same feeling to know that you can talk to one another and you can tell her what's been going on. So maybe you can keep that thought in your head as you're getting ready to have that discussion this week, you know? That it's important that you'd want that if you were in her shoes, you know?
Yeah, you're right.
And the other thing I wanted to kind of think about is as far as going out with your friends. Maybe we can talk about this more next time, but just, do you have any plans for the week coming up with friends?
Yeah, well, I'm going to a party, Friday night.
What kind of party is it? Is it like a...
It's just like someone's, like, it's like a late graduation party for one of my, like, it's like a friend of a friend, so we're all gonna go.
Kids only, or parents, or?
Yeah, everybody will be there, like parents, kids, like their family and stuff.
Sounds like fun.
Yeah.
So, you know, I know these feelings are kind of tough when you're in that social situation and you're a little overwhelmed. You know, what do you think would be most helpful for you in terms of getting through that party and trying to manage what you've been feeling?
Yeah. Well, first, I mean, I should try to change. Like, I was thinking maybe if I, like, before I go, maybe, like, tell myself, like I just said, oh, I think it's gonna be fun. Like, kind of changing, like, I don't know, like, my attitude about it, I guess. Like, maybe if I go into it, like, you know, having, like, really positive expectations.
Do you think right now that your instinct going, or your attitude going into it is maybe a little less positive? Is that what you're saying? Or?
Yeah, but I think that's probably because, I don't know, like, sometimes I just have a hard time in, like, you know, like I was talking about before, like, sometimes I feel like I can't enjoy myself, like, I have all these, like, I think a lot, like, I kind of overthink things, and then my face changes, and my body changes, and people think something's wrong, and so, I feel like that's gonna happen, like, in any kind of situation where there's, like, a bunch of people, or even a few people. But I think maybe if I go into it telling myself that, you know, it's gonna be fun, like, maybe kind of thinking in advance about what I'm gonna say to people and who I'm gonna hang out with, maybe more.
Sounds like a good idea, but one thing I'm hearing you say is that it seems like you think a lot, you know, beforehand about what it's gonna be like. I definitely don't want to discourage you thinking, you know, having those positive thoughts is a really good thing. But since kind of like thinking and getting in your head seems to be kind of tripping you up a little bit, what do you think about the idea of maybe doing something relaxing beforehand, like before the party?
Maybe. I have a hard time relaxing sometimes.
It's a pretty common problem. What do you do that relaxes you? That kind of makes you feel calm?
Listen to music.
What kind of
Go
music
for
do
a
you like?
walk. I like alternatives, classic rock. I like some techno.
Nice. Yeah. What's the most relaxing music you like to listen to? And then it puts you in kind of a mellow, blissed out.
Probably alternative, because, like, the voices are just, like, a lot of very mellow and, like, monotone, and
Nice.
yeah.
Alright, well how about, in addition to kind of giving yourself that mindset of this is going to be fun, how about maybe taking 20 minutes or half an hour before the party to kind of listen to some music while you're thinking about that? That way you get that feeling of hearing those voices and your body being relaxed, and then you also get the benefit of kind of telling yourself, you know, allowing yourself to feel that it's going to be exciting and fun.
Yeah, I think I can do that.
So that way you go in with, you know, kind of mind different and then body different too.
Yeah. Yeah, this is worth a shot.
Alright, well, why don't we wrap it up for today? And I look forward to seeing you next week, and we can talk about how the chat with your mom went.
Okay, thank you.
Alright, take care.
See you later.